back to the Basement Gun Shop. What's on the agenda for today? Well, I thought I'd do another review real quick. If any of my reviews can ever said to be quick, which I don't think they can. On this little puppy right here. This is the Smith & Wesson M&P 10. I have to admit, I saw it in, I believe it was Guns and Ammo, or it might have been American Rifleman, and thought to myself, wow, they're making an M&P 10. I wasn't too impressed with the M&P 15s. The M&P 1522, different story. I absolutely love it. I have one, Dawn has one, her oldest boy Daniel has one. We take them to the range all the time and we just have a ball with them. M&P 15, it's an AR-15, you know? But then they upped their game a notch and they made the M&P 10. I have to admit that when I walked into my local gun shop and they handed it to me and I looked at it, I was actually confused for a second. I knew it was an M&P 10, but the fact of the matter is Smith & Wesson went way beyond with this one and made it fully ambidextrous. There are magazine, bolt release, and safeties on both sides of the gun. Fully ambidextrous. And I was just, it took me a second to realize what I was looking at. That I was seeing an AR with fully ambidextrous controls. Right here is the magazine release on the port side of the receiver. Here's the bolt catch where it normally is, and here's the safety where it normally is. But then, when you turn it around, here's the magazine release where we're used to. Here's the bolt catch right here, and of course, here's the safety. Now, mine's dressed out a little bit from stock, obviously with the addition of the vertical foregrip, which breaks open into a bipod, and that bipod can further be extended out like that if you so choose, and with a Samson Evolution free float forend. I have to admit, I'm not crazy about the Samson Evolution forend. I'm not crazy about the way it mounts. I love the way it looks. I love the fact that you have rail attachments, top, bottom, or rather full top, both left and right at 3 and 9, and another rail attachment for 6 o'clock for a vertical foregrip or a bipod, or in my case both. But I'm really not crazy about this compression fitting thing that clamps around the barrel nut, and I don't like it. Okay, it took me 2 tries to get it right. I truthfully believe that these 2 studs down here are cranked down to the point of stripping the threads out of the receiver. I'm not a big fan of the way it mounts. Alright, that being said, there we go. This guy right here has a 18-inch barrel with a 1 in 10 twist, 6 right-handed grooves. It is a flat top. It does not come with sights. So when you buy it, you're going to have to put some kind of aftermarket sights on it. I chose the Nikon M308 4-16 power scope with a bullet drop compensator reticle, or a BDC reticle. It has your regular sniper turrets on it, and a parallax adjustment on the left-hand side. It is diopter adjustable, and of course it's variable power 4 to 16. I also changed out the standard birdcage flash hider for a surefire muzzle brake compensator that will accept a suppressor. I don't plan on suppressing it, to be honest with you. I mean, come on. Who's going to suppress an AR-10, for God's sakes? You're getting 2,800 feet per second out of the muzzle. You're not going to suppress that. At least not, you know, to the whisper value that everybody thinks they're going to get from putting a can on it. It comes from Smith & Wesson with a 10-round magazine. And for those of you who don't understand the difference between an AR-15 and an AR-10, well, let me give you a little bit of a visual after I hit this and put it out. This is your standard 5.56 by 45 millimeter round that an AR-15 fires. On the other hand, this is a 7.62 by 51 that the AR-10 shoots. In other words, 308 Winchester versus 223 Remington, if you want it in non-millimeter descriptions. Okay? Much bigger, heavier bullet. In point of fact, this is a 175 grain Bowtail hollow point. It's been loaded to give me 2860 at the muzzle from my M1A, which has a 20-inch barrel, so I would get slightly less, probably around just 2750, upper 2700 feet per second coming out of this muzzle at 18 inches. It has your typical M4 adjustable stock and black anno finish, you know, all the stuff that the evil black rifles have. Full Picatinny rail on top and a Picatinny rail up here on the gas block to mount a front sight on. This did come with the standard A2 style handguard, you know, the plastic with the metal inserts. And for a typical battle rifle, that's fine. I'm not a big fan of those plastic handguards. And in truth, nowadays, I don't know many people that are. Everybody seems to want some kind of a Picatinny railed forend on their gun, which, personally speaking, I can't blame them. Give me 1 second and I'll show you an example of what I mean by the forends that came on the rifle. So, this is my Stag Model 8T AR-15. These are this handguard right here. You know, your typical handguards that you see on almost every base model AR-15, AR-10 in this case, because that's what we're talking about. These are the style of handguards that came on this gun. I swapped them out for the Samson Evolution free float forend. My range days with this gun were limited. I was running low on 308 ammo, to be quite honest with you. Oh, one thing before I move on to the range days stuff. Like I said, it comes with a 10-round magazine from Smith & Wesson. DPMS does make 20-round mags that will work in the gun. As far as I know, those are the only mags that will work in the gun. Okay? So if you do decide to pick one of these up and then just buy an aftermarket mag larger, more than 10 rounds, make sure it's a DPMS mag. In fact, the guys at my local gun shop went out of their way to tell me that the DPMS mags were pretty much the only ones that work in the gun. I don't know if Smith & Wesson makes one, because I bought 2 of the DPMS mags right off the bat. So I figure between 3 mags, 50 rounds, I'm good to go. Okay? Especially with something that heavy. And I picked this up just to round out my AR collection. At the time, I didn't have an AR-10, and let's face it, being able to waffle these monsters downrange at the standard rate that you can with any AR, okay, no excuses. I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying, it's a 308 for God's sake. So my range days with this were pretty much limited to getting the scope sighted in, and with the bullet drop compensator reticle, I took it out, I bore sighted it, took it to the range, threw 20 rounds down range, and I was hitting consistently with ease in a 3-inch group at 200 yards. Keep in mind, these rounds were loaded specifically for my M1A with a 20-inch barrel. That has a different rifling rate, and it's a charge to give me a specific velocity at the muzzle of that gun. So all in all, tapping out a 3-inch group at 200 yards, I can't complain about these rounds performing in this gun. I have not done any loading specific to the 1 in 10 twist with this barrel with 6 right-handed grooves. I haven't done the loading or the math or the homework to make a custom load for this gun. But I can live with 3 inches. I mean, that's the difference between here and here. These aren't legal for hunting where I live. So that's why I haven't done much with it. I load tons of stuff for AR-15s because I own a ton of them. But this one was just, like I said, to round out my collection, and because it's just so damn cool. I mean, you hand this to a guy at the range and they look at it, and a guy who's familiar with AR-15s, and they look at it and what's all the levers and stuff? Let me see. Let me turn this spotlight on here behind the camera, and we'll see. Oh, and it falls down. And we'll see if we can get those controls. So, there we go. This is the starboard side of the receiver. And right here is a bolt catch. And you don't normally find one there. And then, of course, you have the magazine release where everyone's used to it, and the safety. But if you flip this puppy around, that's where it could get a little confusing, because you've got this right here, this lever right here, which operates the magazine release and the bolt catch, and then of course back here you also have the safety. So when I say this gun has fully ambidextrous controls, I'm not joking. And it does have fully ambidextrous controls. Now, I'm right-handed. I was brought up and taught to shoot with AR-15s, M4s in the military, and you shot right-handed, and if you were left-handed, you were told to work with it and learn to shoot it, because that's the way it is. It hasn't been until, later years, the mid to late 90s, and then on into this century, that everybody started trying to figure out ways to make the controls on the AR-15, AR-10s ambidextrous to accommodate the left-hand shooter. So all in all, that's a good thing. So if you're a left-hand shooter, you've got everything right where you just transfer your right-handed controls to your left hand, and they're almost in exactly the same spot. So that's it for my review of the Smith & Wesson M&P 10. Very soon I will be doing a review of the Nikon M308 with the BDC reticle. I want to dig up the paperwork so I can have some pictures of the reticle to put up so you know what I'm talking about. And you know, I'll be covering that, and maybe I can get this out to the range. I know we're having a work party at the range this Saturday, so Saturday there won't be any shooting. Sunday I have a class. Like I said in a video way back in the timeline, being an NRA instructor is a great thing, but you just don't get any range time for yourself. Unless it's a really miserable day and you don't mind going out in the rain or in the snow or in the bitter cold. But you know what? I still enjoy it. So, like I said, that's my review of the Smith & Wesson M&P 10. I believe I picked this one up for a hair under $1,500. I don't know what the prices are running now. I don't know what the availability of them is right now either. I have one, so I'm a happy camper. That's pretty much it. So until next time, thanks for watching the Basement Gun Shop. I truly appreciate it. If you have any comments, please leave them below in the comments. Like the channel, subscribe, even better. That way you'll get notified when all my brand new words of wisdom show up on the internet. And because God knows everything on the internet's true. Absolutely. So until next time, please stay safe and keep shooting.